Hey everybody, I'm glad you're here. Thank you for joining me tonight. Tonight is Tuesday, May 21st. I'm Tammy, I'm the Siberian Wind, and I am thankful that you guys have found my quilting channel. So thank you for being here. I'm going to say hi to everybody that's already in the chat. I've got Michelle, I've got Charlotte, I've got Mona and Vicky. Hi to every last one of you. Thank you for checking in, letting me know you're here. I am getting started a little early. We're going to run the same amount of time as normal. I'm not going to penalize anybody for not showing up until my normal scheduled time of 5. So it will be what it will be. Charlotte's in the chat saying, hi, Tammy. Hi, Charlotte. Glad you are here. Judy has joined the chat. Welcome, Judy. Glad you are here. Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and bring my camera over. Let's see. There we go. We're going to bring the camera over so you guys can see what I'm working on. We're going to get some sewing done tonight. I have needed some time in front of the sewing machine, so that is what we are doing. So how is everybody doing today? It is a good Tuesday evening. So we have got a few things coming up. I've got a little bit of moving clean out to do. Angel's Crafty Halo has joined the chat. She says, hi, Tammy. Hi, Angel. Glad you are here. Thank you for joining the chat. I appreciate it very, very much. So the pattern that I'm working on is the repeat, or is the continuance of the viewer selected quilt kit. And it is Sparkle. I don't believe the links are in the chat. Let me see. Let me see what Nightbot has. We are going to see if I put the pattern in there. If I did, great. If not, yes, I did. There we go. All right. So we also have fabrics that are going to be in there. And this was a kit that I picked up at Paducah of Kentucky, or Hancock's of Paducah. I apologize, Paducah of Kentucky. That really doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So I picked this up at Hancock's of Paducah back in 2016, 2017. And it was one of the 4 kits that people got to choose from to select that this is what I was going to work on. So what I've already done on all these others is I've just attached one little wing to each of these. So I've not even pressed anything. So we are just finishing up. This is quite literally the last of what I have left to sew to get to the next step. So we'll be pressing after this, but probably not today. I just want to try to get through sewing what we can today. All right, so if you are in the chat, as always with my channel, if you do exclamation selfie, if you have a YouTube channel, Nightbot will put a link to your channel in the chat for us, so that way you can get some love back, as well as coming to hang out and show my channel some love. So I appreciate everybody coming out and hanging out. And we are going to go over the quilt that's on the wall that you guys saw briefly before I swapped cameras. And we are going to go over the cut and chiseled quilt. It is already basted and ready for quilting. So we're going to go over that as well. There we go. Michelle's Crafts and More's channel is in the links. So you guys, if you want to go check out Michelle's channel, you can do that. You should be able to also do that on the replay. I do have live replay comments up. So if you are catching me on the replay, please feel free to visit anyone who is kind enough to come hang out with us and go ahead and give their channel some love as well as mine. I do not mind sharing. I want this to be a community. I do. Now, I did have something brought up to me the other day, and I want to bring it up. So I am very much one of those people that thinks 3 or 4 or 5 steps ahead. If I am thinking ahead way too far for you, if I am teaching a project or teaching, yes, Angel, thank you. She says thumbs up. Yes, please, everybody, thumbs up. Thumbs up. Or thumbs down if you hate my channel. I don't mind. I'm not gonna be offended. But if I talk too fast or I go too fast through steps of a project, if you didn't catch me during the live to tell me, hey, I need you to repeat something, please, please, please put it in the comments of the video. Let me know that I didn't go over something well enough for you. I don't often realize that I go ahead of everything and get ahead and that I'm on my own personal mind track and leaving everybody behind. So did anybody in the chat that's already here, have any of you done cut and chiseled? Have any of you got some work in on it? Are any of you guys going to attempt to do cut and chiseled? Let me know. I would love to see pictures in the Facebook group. If you do not have Facebook and you want to send them to me privately in order to share them for Show and Tell, then we can do that as well. So Show and Tell will be June 4th. June 4th is going to be our Show and Tell day. So, and I figure I'm going to be repeating that a few times. We are still before 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So what are you guys up to today? What is going on in your worlds on this wonderful Tuesday? Is it rainy and snowy and cold like it is here? Or have you guys got some sunshine, some warm temperatures, some tropical storms, you know, anything other than cold? It's rare, you guys. I'm wearing a sweatshirt, okay? You guys rarely see me wear a sweatshirt because it is always hot in here. It is actually cool enough in here right now that it is not that I can wear a sweatshirt. Don has joined the chat. He says, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Don. Glad you are here. Thank you for joining the chat. And Michelle is saying hi to Don as well. I want to thank you guys. You are so sweet, making sure everybody's, you know, getting a hello and thank you. I really appreciate that. Because then I don't have to stay, you know, in front of the keyboard and I can actually sew. Let's see. Michelle says, sunny and hot here in North Carolina. Ooh. And then Angel said, getting ready for thunderstorms tonight. Now, I will say, sometimes, not all the time, because I know other things can happen. Sometimes the best sleeping weather is thunderstorms. Because with that rain coming down and with it all nasty outside, there is no place better than to just hang out indoors, cuddle up with, you know, a pillow, a good movie, and just chill. Charlotte is saying hi to Dawn as well. Angel is saying the same thing. Vicky, here in Michigan, it's 85 degrees. Oh my goodness. It is 43 degrees on my patio, you all. It's 42 in the rest of the city, apparently. That's what my computer's telling me. But it is 43 degrees on my patio. So it's just a little bit chilly. I mean, I am third floor, so I'm not, you know, not ground level or anything. But 43 is still a little chilly. I'm going to be going to a baseball game on Thursday. I've got 4 baseball games coming up that I'm going to be going to. But the season opener is Thursday night. And you guys, the game starts at 6:30. Sunset's been about 8:30. So, you know, the first 2 hours we'll have a little bit of sunshine. But it is going to be cold, the high Thursday. When I checked last, now the forecast can change. We do live in the mountains, you know, we do live in a mountainous area, so forecast can change. The last time I checked, it was going to be a high of 60 degrees on Thursday. And the low Thursday night is supposed to be 30s, somewhere in the 30s. So I am going to freeze at that game. It will not be a sunny baseball game. It will be a cold and cuddle up in a blanket kind of baseball game. Vicky says, thank goodness for air conditioning. Yes, Vicky, air conditioning saved my life. No joke about that. Michelle is saying hi to Judy. Did I miss Judy? No, I think I said hi to Judy. I think so. Oh, no, you're a different Judy. Okay, hi, Judy. Glad you're here. She says, hi, everyone. Finally finished for today, so I can finally watch. Took my grand swimming in our pool. It's hot here. Oh, goodness. They are supposed to open our pools in my apartment complex over Memorial Day weekend. And I am assuming that they're going to open it on Memorial Day, but they really need to open it for the weekend. But it's going to be too cold until probably middle of June, probably, to get in the pools. All right. Kimberly from Pajama Quilter is here. She says, hi, sorry I'm late. You are not late, Kimberly. I started early. It is all my fault. You were in here at 5:01 my time. That is close enough to on time for me. Oh, guys, I cut something wrong. Oh, my goodness. I'm going to have to figure out how to fix this. I do have a little bit of scrap, so we're going to see if I've got enough scrap to fix that. I don't know how I did that. So we've got one triangle down. We will figure it out from there, but we've got one triangle down. All right. Let's see. Charlotte says it's warmish here on the Mississippi coast. Feels like 86. Oh, that is plenty warm. You can keep it. It's plenty warm, but you can keep it. I mean, I want warm, but I don't want that warm. I'm good with like mid-70s. That way and you can still get in the shade and still enjoy some of that. Here's another one that didn't cut all the way. And I don't know how that happened. All right, we may have some pieced triangles by the time this is done. We'll do some more poverty piecing. I think Charlotte is the one who called it on the back of the cut and chiseled when I was showing what to do for the back of the cut and chiseled quilt. It is definitely called poverty piecing, and she had it nailed, calling it that. And I hadn't really thought about that term in a really long time, so I don't know. All right, my machine is saying my bobbin might be out of thread. It is not. Let's see if it's even close. It is not even close. All right. So that means my sensor is a little dirty. And I left my brush. Let's see. Here we go. I love it. Vicky's saying that she feels for Charlotte with it being 86, and Charlotte's saying that she loves it. Well, yeah, Charlotte's used to much warmer temperatures. 86 probably feels great for them. Vicky's saying we have 85% humidity here in Michigan. Ugh, that's what I can't handle. I can't handle the humidity. When we woke up this morning, it was actually snowing. So, let me make sure my desktop sounds. There we go. It was actually snowing as well as raining. So, I don't know. This is May. It is close to the end of May. You would think that it would be spring. And it is not quite spring here yet. It is not there. My plants outside are probably cursing my existence for putting them outside for a little bit. Charlotte says, lurking now, I have a 2-year-old granddaughter using me as a jungle gym. Well, I guess that's better than falling off of you as a jungle gym. So, okay, we will work with that. I had to lurk earlier. I went and caught a little bit of Katie's live. She was interviewing Brenda. I don't know where Brenda's from. I did not catch all the details. I just managed to pop in for a little bit and hang out. And then I managed to cop. Mona is back. Welcome back, Mona. Glad you are here. I also popped over to Shannon and what is her name? I know it. Stephanie. Shannon and Stephanie. Their chat. I apologize, you guys. Let me see if this was important. All right. Okay. All right. So that was my talk with my my friend in Salt Lake City, and we are working on our plans. Let's see. Angel says we skipped spring and went straight into summer here. Oh, where is here, Angel? Where is here? And Mona, you have a channel. You are welcome to do exclamation selfie. As any other content creators are, do exclamation selfie, and that will give people a link to your channel. I do not mind at all. So I will go ahead and say, because we are a few minutes into my normal time, so next week is going to be a little odd. Indiana, says Angel. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Indiana is not known for hanging on to spring for very long. So next week I will be in Salt Lake City. I am making plans to see someone that I have not seen since high school, almost. So we are going to see her and her family while we are in Salt Lake City. And we are going to see what kind of time frame we need to work around. So my live may be a little early or it may be a little late. The other option is I may have something pre-recorded that I go ahead and post. So you guys will have content. It just won't be a live stream. I want to be able to do a live stream, but I may just not be able to. The trip is especially taxing on my body, so my ability to be able to be functional once we get there is kind of slim, and we are driving in on Tuesday. Vicky says, Angel, we look like spring, but we will be getting cold again here in Michigan. Well, everybody has told me that I can start planting outside after Memorial Day, and of course I jumped the gun. Being from the Southeast, I'm used to chancing it with everything. So my plants here are probably just wishing that I had chosen something else to plant versus them, because I give them a chance to fight for it. Oh, let's see. There we go. And Angel's apologizing to Vicky for the weather. Well, you didn't do it. It wasn't you. It's Mother Nature. It is these weather patterns that we've got and everything else. My understanding is that we're going back towards El Nino. We've been in La Nina and we're going back to El Nino. So things are going to be unpredictable again for a bit. So I don't know. It's new terminology. I didn't learn it in school. So I'm just going to take the meteorologist's word for it and go, okay, well, what does tomorrow look like? And just plan for one day at a time. I am not making any long-term plans either way. You know, if of course, that might mean that Thursday's game, you know, I'm already looking at bundling up for Thursday's game, but I might be in shorts. Jean has joined the chat. She says hello. Good evening, Jean. Glad you're here. Or afternoon. It's 4 o'clock where you're at now. Or just a little after 4. I am glad you made it. So in maybe about 20 minutes or so, I'm going to stop whatever I'm doing. And I'm going to show you guys what cut and chiseled looks like put together. And I do have it basted. I do not have it quilted. I'm not Superwoman, I promise. But mine is basted and ready to be quilted. Jean says it's raining right now, 55 degrees. Okay, you got me. Well, you're a little bit warmer than me. I'm at 43. And it is currently, it looks like it might be raining. It's a very light rain. I'm not sure. They said that the rain was supposed to stop, and I don't think it has. But thankfully, I don't have to go outside right now. I get to stay nice and cozy in my studio with you guys. I have no obligations outside of the studio right now. That is the wonderful thing about being here. So, what I've got to do, you guys, is I've got to move things into my closet. I've got to finish cleaning out the storage closet that I have been trying to clean for about a month now. I haven't really put in a lot of time lately on it because I've got to reorganize my closet to move everything into it. So that is going to be a project for later today after I get off this live, and then I will be working on it probably, I want to be done by Friday morning, maybe Friday afternoon. So with everything else, you know, I don't know how well that's going to work, but we're going to try it. So let's see. Me either. Oh, yeah, with the the getting out in the weather, yeah. I am so glad to not have to get out in it. My dog is curled up somewhere. I don't know where, though. I don't see him. It's Kennedy has joined the chat. She says, hello all. Howdy, Alabama. Well, howdy to you too, my lady. So yeah, next week I'm going to have a video to upload just in case. You guys are going to get to see me doing binding. I'm not going to be cutting the binding. I'm just going to be putting the binding on. I've already got all but one quilt's worth of binding cut. So I will not be cutting any binding. I will just be putting it on the quilts. So if that's a video that you guys see next week, then it was because I had to upload it and I wasn't going to be able to sit by the chat. And I will do it as a premiere so you guys can chat. And I might be able to log on and chat while I'm there in Salt Lake City, but I don't know for sure. It just depends on what the schedule is and how things are going, because I really haven't seen this friend in a really long time, and she's got a little one, so of course, you know, spending time with the little one too, and my husband hasn't met her or her husband, so this is like a big meeting. Let's see. Jean says, mine's in the chair in the corner. Yeah, see, I thought he was, like, back here behind me, but he's not. And I just don't know where he is. But my husband took him and ran him. Played fetch with him for a while. So I think he's tired. I think he's worn out. He got to do a play date on Saturday and then again on Sunday. And we came home Sunday afternoon, and no joke, my dog would get up, move to the room that I was in, and lay down and pass out. And then if I moved to a different room, he would get up, move to the room that I was in again, and pass out. He was so exhausted Sunday. He had such a good time, but he was definitely a tired puppy. And you know, there's nothing better than a tired puppy, because then that means that they're not getting into trouble. So you got to work with that, right? So Kimberly says, sounds like a great time. So happy for you. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this trip. I'm not looking forward to the whole reason I've got to go to Salt Lake City. But if I've got to go there and be there anyway, I might as well, you know, get to see a friend while I'm there. And I didn't know she was there until last time I was in Salt Lake City, which is in January, and I didn't get a chance to see her because of the timing, because neither one of us knew, and we didn't plan, and all of the things. So we're going to plan and get to spend some time with each other and go from there. I think my husband will really find it interesting to meet one of my friends from high school, because that will be the first one he'll get to meet. And then I've got another one that's coming into town at the end of June. Her and her husband, and my husband's never met them either. So as long as they don't like dish any of like the, you know, juicy stories, we're good. Chloe has joined the chat. She says, hello all, and Tammy. Welcome, Chloe. Glad you are here. Thank you. Thank you for joining the chat. So we are just working on Sparkle for right now. About another 5 minutes or so. I am going to, I think it was 5 minutes. maybe. It's either 5 or 15. I can't remember which one I said earlier. We're going to go with 15 minutes. In another 15 minutes, I'm going to show you guys what cut and chiseled looks like. Because I do have the front and the back done. So it is basted and ready for quilting. It's just pinned. It's not thread basted or anything like that. I did not have time for that. I just managed to get it basted last night. And then I've got binding that I've been cutting for quilts as well. Let's see. Lori has joined the chat. She says hello, Tammy. Welcome, Lori. Glad you are here. Thank you for joining in the chat tonight. So next week is going to be the weird week, because again, I don't know what my timing is going to be. And then June 4th is going to be our Sew and Tell. So you guys will get reminders in the community page. And if you guys are in the Facebook group, you will get reminders there as well. If you are not in the Facebook group and you want to join, do !group and go ahead and ask to join, and I will put you into the Facebook group. That's an easy way for you to post your Sew and Tell to the group, and you can also share anything quilting related that you would like in the group. Just don't spam the group with ads or anything like that. But that is where all of our members that are submitting Sew and Tell, they're either submitting it there or they are sending me an email. All right, so Mona has going off to bed. Night all. Bye, Mona. Have a good evening. Thank you for hanging out for as long as you did. I appreciate it. Sorry I didn't see it until just now. I was catching everybody else saying bye. So next week will be the odd week, and then we will have Sew and Tell. And every Tuesday night in June, we are doing a giveaway. I currently have enough giveaways for one giveaway per live. There may be a couple of additional things that go into the giveaways. So there may be a couple of additional things to give away as well. So it may be more than one giveaway, but it will be at least one giveaway per live in Tuesday. Or live in June on each Tuesday evening. So if you want to participate in those giveaways, just make sure that you look for all of the Tuesday night lives in June. It's Kennedy. What is your favorite material with the project you are sewing tonight? It would have to be, because these are so pretty, I think my favorite is this fabric right here. It is a red with white scripted letters. There's the words "Let It Snow," "Merry Christmas," "Merry and Bright," "Joy to the World," things like that written on it. I like the red one, but just because that's my favorite as far as all of the colors go. Now I do have, I like the black and white one, and I like the white with the red lettering, but I think the red with the white lettering is just so fantastic. And then my second favorite, amazingly enough, would be this. It's really busy, but it just kind of, it looks like one of the other fabrics I've recently worked with, and it gives you that texture look, even though there's not the feeling of texture. Good question, It's Kennedy. Thank you. Chloe says, I need to sew so I can tell. It's Kennedy says, me too, Chloe. All right. He says, I like that fabric too. Oh, I know. I love, if you ever were to look through my fabric stash, I don't have a lot of fabrics that have words all over it, but the fabrics that do have words all over it, it is so hard for me to use them because I love them so much and I can't bear to cut into them. So this one, I kind of had to cut into it because it was part of the kit, but if I could have saved it, I would have. Chloe says, I've lost my way, but I think I can get back into it. There you go, Chloe. That's the way to look at it. And as Kennedy says, that she can relate. Yeah, absolutely. I actually was there a couple of weeks ago, but I kind of have this problem called it's YouTube, and I'm the content creator, so I kind of have to to do something with it. And Charlotte says, I get that. Yeah. Um, Vicky, what do you think about batiks? I actually love batiks. However, okay, so while I'm at it, so here's the teal version, and I like it, but I like the red one better. I like the red one. I'm not usually a red person, but I do like the red. Um, so on batiks, I like them, but I don't like combining them with anything else. So if I want to do a project that uses batik fabric, that is going to be the only type of fabric in the entire project. Because I feel like when you start combining batiks with other fabrics, you are running the risk of the different weights of fabrics causing problems. I have done a quilt, and I actually have it out in my living room right now, that I used a batik for one of the focus fabrics, and the rest of my fabrics in the quilt are Kona. And Kona is typically a heavier cotton. It's gorgeous. And I love all the colors in Kona. Some people think it's too grainy, like it's too low of a thread count, but I kind of disagree. I like the feel of Kona because of the weight of it. And batiks are very lightweight normally. So I've done it, and I will do it if I need to. But as a general rule, I avoid combining batiks with other things. I mean, I've got a whole bunch of batiks. I've got an entire section about this wide on my shelves in front of me that are batiks. And then you guys can't see it, but my section of batik fat quarters is like this wide. So I have batiks, and I love them. But I just don't feel like combining them with regular fabrics works well, because there's a difference in the texture between the fabrics. It's Kennedy says, I'm having a hard time finding courage cutting my Hippo Tula pink fabric. Oh no. You've got to find the courage. It's Kennedy. You've got to. I know what you're going to make with it, if I'm correct. And I think you will have a blast once you actually cut into it, because you're going to feel so accomplished. Just make sure to measure 2, 3, 4, 5 times and then cut. All right, Dawn says just subscribed. Fun Fabrics. Yes, Dawn, thank you. So this entire line, I don't know if you saw the link. Let's do the link in the chat real quick, you guys. This is Moda's Juniper Berry line. And I don't know if you can still find it, but that is a link to this fabric line. I don't believe that the white is on there. This is a Moda grunge, and the contrast doesn't really show up very well in the live cameras. If I took a photograph of it, I could make it show up, but there's contrast in this fabric, in this background. Let's see. Chloe says that she likes the red better too. Yeah, I mean, right? It just has better contrast to me. Chloe says I combined them on my goat in pajamas. It was a 1-block wall quilt. Yes. Yeah. Combining regular and batiks, it can happen, but you just have to be so much more careful with it that it's not something I would recommend to everyone to try. If you're going to do it, just go ahead and do it. But I'm horrible at trying that. It's Kennedy says, goats in pajamas? Wow, that's an accomplishment. Yes, it is. Chloe says, just 1 block. It went pretty well. So I do have the goats in pajamas. I am planning to make... I haven't decided if I'm making a king size or a wall quilt. I don't know yet. But I have a friend that loves Mickey Mouse. So I have some Mickey Mouse fabrics that I just happened to come across. And then when I saw the Goats in Pajamas quilts, I was like, well, that would be perfect. You know, I've already got the pajama fabric. Because the Mickey Mouse fabric would be perfect for her for the Goats in Pajamas. As Kennedy says, I got the pattern for Goats in Pajamas. I counted the pieces and decided it is not for me. Oh, and okay, so that's one thing. I'm going to readdress it real quick. So somebody pointed out to me the other day, and it's a really good comment. So I know a lot of you guys follow a lot of other content creators. I'm not the only one. And one of the people that I follow is Tiffany from Tiffany's Quilting Life. If you've not followed her before, she is a very fast quilter. Like, she puts things together really incredibly fast, and her brain is thinking on 10 cylinders when most of us are lucky to have 8 if 6. You know, she's always those so many steps ahead. And I don't know if that's just how she preps or just how her brain works. But I kind of think the same way that she does. So I can watch her content and I'm going, oh, that makes a whole lot of sense. You know, that explains why, you know, that's what I was thinking too. Or, you know, if we're waiting for her to, you know, reveal what her next step is or whatever. You know, sometimes she's even lost me. But I do think on that. I kind of think those 3 and 4 and 5 steps ahead. So I think in Cut and Chiseled, I may have jumped a few steps ahead here and there. And I do feel like I might have left a couple people by the wayside unintentionally. It is a beginner-friendly quilt, but it was definitely, one, it was definitely fast-paced. And 2, I know that I had to adjust my measurements, and I didn't think of that ahead of time, and I didn't prep for that. So I was scrambling on the fly to go ahead and readjust and then convey to you guys what the adjustment was. So I know I may have confused a few people, and I apologize for that. If at any time you're on one of my lives and I'm confusing you, just put in the chat, I'm confused. Even if you don't know exactly what you're confused about, that will give me enough time to stop and go, okay, hang on, I've lost someone. And we will take the time, I will take whatever extra time I need to go back over something, because I don't want anyone to feel left behind or struggled or flustered or whatever. I want quilting to be fun and enjoyable for everyone. So if you ever feel like you are behind or that I'm rushing ahead, please just say something. And then if you're watching on the replay, just comment. You know, if it's not something that I have, you know, an answer for immediately, I will come up with an answer for it by the next time I go live. Or I will type in the comments, you know, to add to it. So let's see, where are we at? Chloe says 42 per 1 block. Yeah, that's a lot of pieces per block. Vicky says, what do you think of Joann's fabrics? They are perfectly fine with me. I do not mind them. I use a lot of Joann's fabrics. So the background fabric in Cut and Chiseled is from Joann's. Nothing on my quilts on the wall was from Joann's. But yeah, there's a lot of quilts that I've got that have Joann's fabrics. I am not afraid of saving some money. I love quilt store quality fabric. I do. But my pocketbook doesn't. So I will quilt with whatever I have the option to get. So Joann's fabrics tends to be what I can afford. Let's see, Chloe says, off to dinner, I'll watch replay. No worries, Chloe. Thank you for being here. And I'm about to go ahead and stop here in just a second. 42 master quilters do that. Yeah, I hear you. It's going to be. Dawn says, Tiffany is awesome. Yes, she is. She also breaks the sound barrier with quilting speed. Yes, she does. Kimberly says it's also easy to forget to explain or share things that as experienced quilters we do naturally without thinking about them. Yes. And going along with that, let me go ahead and swap the camera over while I'm doing that. Going along with that, if I do not explain something and you need me to, I don't mind. That doesn't bother me one bit. I would rather stop and explain something than to miss something that you guys needed. All right. So I told you I would stop about 5 to 10 to 15 minutes or something. And we are going to see the big reveal. Let's see. Vicky says, thank you. Now I will check out Joann's. Yeah, see, I mean, I wouldn't buy the bargain bin fabric that's half or partially polyester. I would still make sure I'm sticking to cotton. But I don't have anything against Joann fabrics. As far as, the fabric quality is perfectly fine to me. All right, I'm turning around so that the top is up. I promise I got it. It is all pinned. It's not pinned very closely, but it is pinned. All right. So this is the top part of it. So it's 4 rows across, and it's about 64 inches wide. Ugh. And then it just keeps going. And going. And going. It is 90 inches tall. Let's see. What is my favorite sewing gadget? Can you name just one? Oh, just one? Let me come back to that thought. I will come back to it. Because I got to think for a minute now. That's a hard question. All right. As Kennedy says, it's looking good. Thank you. All right. So this is the back. And the stripe of chisels is off-centered intentionally. I didn't want to put it dead center. So I have a little block right here. That is all just poverty piecing, and I'll show you guys up close here in a minute. And then I ended up being able to make 9 chisels with the extra fabric from those fat quarters. All right. And when I went to put stripes on the back, I grabbed extra fat quarters, so I added 6 fat quarters of blue, and one of the fat quarters I ran out of the fabric, so I put in a strip of another section of a different fat quarter. Okay, so I'm going to bring you guys down. All right, it's Kennedy. I'm going to have to ask for permission. Can I say that my favorite sewing gadget is a sewing machine? Because if it can be a sewing machine, then that's my favorite sewing gadget. That would absolutely have to be my favorite sewing gadget. Alright, let's see. Vicky says, I think I will stick to English paper piecing just for now. I've done many quilts on the machine, but EPP is becoming my favorite. See, there you go. I'm glad you love EPP, and I don't mind doing it, but it's not my favorite. Alright, so these are some of the chisels from the front. So each chisel on the front is using just one fabric. Okay? So when we cut all the fat quarters up to make all of those, we ended up with strips and pieces. So, like this one has 1, 2, 3, 4 in this half square triangle. And then the rectangle has 2, actually it has 4 if you guys can see. There is a center seam along that center line. And I did not match necessarily my half square triangles between the pieces. So, like for example, this half square triangle does not match the fabric in this half square triangle. So I did just, all I was doing was putting my strips together. And now this one, I've got strips going 2 different directions in this half square triangle because I ran out of fabric. So my fabric wasn't big enough to cut my 6-inch squares. And for the back, I did manage to cut 6-inch squares. So I had a little bit of waste, that 1/8 of an inch waste. And here's another part of that same half square triangle where I had to add extra fabric where I just did not have enough. So you got a little bitty triangle right there. Alright, so that is, each one of these is so different. So this one right here, I was putting my strips together this way at one point, and I ran out of fabric. So I filled in, and then I had more room I needed to fill in. So, it was a lot of putting things together. These are not even 1/2 inch in size, these little bitty pieces. But it was on a strip, so I was able to cut it. So I didn't manually do any of this. This was all, I put together strips and pieces and then just cut them apart. Okay, so that is what we did for the back. Alright, Jean says, I think I was laying mine at 6 across, but I was trying to lay it on top of my mother's quilt blocks on the wall, so I couldn't get it correct. Took it down and just finished the top, so now I can try again. Oh, that's perfect. I like that idea. And Jean said, Dawn says, gives the quilt more character. Yes, it does. So I will be honest, I did not have enough of this white with this silver sparkle fabric, this background fabric. I did not have enough of that to piece the entire back. So poverty piecing is where it's at. Because now I have maybe a total of 10 inches of, I have about 15 inches of background fabric, and I have about 10 inches probably total of strip set pieces from the strip sets to make the back. So this was literally using every last little bit. So when I go to bind it, it will be in another shade of blue, probably other than what I have. Now I had to add this blue right here. I did it on both sides of each of the background stripes. I do have more of that, so I may be doing the binding in that because it goes very well with all of it. Let's see. Love hearing the stories behind the making. Yes, Dawn, they are so much fun. I love that. That's where it all becomes a community. Let's see. Vicky says, are you going to use cotton batting in your quilt? It is an 80-20, or actually 93-7, something like that. It's warm and white. I did have a roll of Warm and Natural that I ran out of, I think, around September or October last year. And so this roll is warm and white. And I got a 40-yard roll back in November. And I've done quite a few quilts on it already. So it's the Warm and Natural, whatever the content is for that. It's not a flat 80-20. It is like 90 something. I want to say 92.8 or 93.7, something along those lines. It's a better, more cotton quantity than just an 80-20. Oh, so while I'm at it, let me go back real quick, you guys, because we're doing show and tell stuff for what I've got here. So you guys will see cut and chiseled again. You guys will get to see me bind this one. This is that Irish chain with a twist that I did back in March. So it is now quilted. It is trimmed but not squared. And I won't be able to get it in the light very well, so I'm going to have to do photographs. But I did a clamshell quilting on it, so that way it was a lot quicker to go together. Let me repin it, because I was pulling the pin out. But it is quilted. It is ready to be bound. I just have to cut the binding for it, and then I have 4 quilts to bind. And then I'm down to 5 to quilt. Let's see. Vicky says, I love Warm and Natural. Yeah, I do too. I like the Warm and Natural better than the Warm and White, but it's what I could get when I was getting it. And I do order an entire roll at a time. The 90-inch comes in 40 yards. And then if I'd gone to the larger size, it comes in 30 yards. Dawn says she loves the Warm and Natural too. Yeah, it's the one thing that I love the most about it, more than anything else, other than just what's in it. I love that it's consistent throughout the whole roll. So, I mean, even if I had to swap to polyester batting because of cost or something, if I can get the same quality throughout the entire roll, that would be one thing. But I have not found that with any of the polyesters. I do find that with the Warm and Natural brand, or the Warm brand. Tammy, I love your quilts on the wall. Thank you, Vicky. So, if you go back in my history of my lives, if you did not catch the Irish chain with a twist, there are 4 videos on that series. And I take that quilt and start it at the very beginning and go all the way to the end. Guess who? Nancy has joined the chat. She says, hi, y'all. There you go, Nancy. Bring out my southern drawl. There we go. Glad you are here. Thank you so much for joining the chat. So I'm going to bind 4 different quilts on my live or on my recording. So you guys will see binding next week. If I cannot go live. If I can go live from Salt Lake City, I absolutely will. If I can't, you guys will get to watch a video on binding. I'm not going to do the cutting of the binding. I'm just going to do the actual binding the quilts. And I will keep it short so you guys aren't on there for like an hour and a half, listening to me drone on about this quilt and, what I did or didn't do with it or any of that. I will make sure it is entertaining, I promise. Alright, this is my last triangle, you guys. I do not have any others. So I've got enough for 1, 2, 3, 4 more, but I've got two that I'm going to have to figure out how to fix because they didn't trim right. So we will poverty piece those to fix them. All right, Sean is here. He's saying good day. Thank you, Sean. Glad you are here. Thank you for joining the chat. You have just missed Cut and Chiseled. You just missed it. I just put it back down. We are finishing up the first step of piecing on Sparkle. If you want the pattern for this, it is !pattern in the chat. So you can get that. So next week is, again, going to be the odd week. So the people who've been here for a while are going to be probably mad that I'm droning on, and I'm sorry. But it is what it is. So next week, I'm going to be in Salt Lake City. If I can go live from Salt Lake City, I will. If not, I will have a video that will upload and play automatically. So I'll pre-upload it, and then I'll just change when it releases. So that is what my plan is for next Tuesday, because again, I do not know what my schedule is going to be, and I kind of have to play it by ear, both for my health and for the schedule as well. There we go. Lori grabbed the pattern for us. It's Kennedy says, so my favorite thing I have for my sewing gadgets is I love my turning cutting mat. Your rotating cutting mat. Oh yeah, absolutely. Those things are cool. My only problem is I am frequently cutting things that are so much bigger than my rotating mat that I don't use my rotating mat often enough. I do love it, but I just don't use it often enough. I need to, work on another couple projects that are smaller so I can use it some more. But I love mine too. I just don't use it. I use my sewing machine every day though. Almost every day. There's been a few exceptions, very few exceptions. But my sewing machine is still probably my number one sewing gadget. So my next favorite would probably be Jackie, my seam ripper, except that Jackie reached out and bit me the other day. So Jackie's in a little bit of timeout because she bit. She's not supposed to bite me. So, alright, so that is what I'm going to have to fix. So these triangles are supposed to have points at this end, and it does not have a point. And this one is even worse. So I do not have that extra fabric, so we're gonna go through my scraps and see if I can find the extra fabric. Alright, so the next step on this process, Sean, bad, Jackie, yes, I'm going to be on that bandwagon. Jackie has been bad lately. I mean, she's still nearby, she's within reach, but she's still in kind of a timeout, because I'm still mad. So the next step in this process will be taking all of these, let's see, this way you can see down in my box down here. My next step will be taking all of these and pressing the seams. So according to the pattern, let's see, am I pressing to one side or am I pressing open? Okay, it says, let's see, press in direction of the arrow. So it says press to the dark fabrics. So I'll be pressing them in. So what I will do is I'll take this lovely red fabric that I love and I will turn this over and that seam will be pressed in towards the triangle. I am tempted, you guys, and if you got feedback on this, let me know. When the pattern says to press it in, do you think it's going to make a difference if I press the seams open? Do you think it'll make a difference? Because I don't know. They're not sewing to anything else that has a seam. So it's not going to be a matter of them. It's not going to be a matter of them needing to nest seams. So, Sean, you might have an idea on this. Do you think I could get away with pressing them open? Do you think that would work just as well? Or am I just taking too much extra time? Sean says I press open all the time no matter what the pattern says. Joy T is here. She says hi to me and everyone. Hi, Joy T. Glad you're here. Thank you for joining the chat. Yeah, so I think I will. I think I'm going to press open because I want my quilt to lay a lot more flat. And sometimes you can get a little bump, especially on these bias edges. You can get a little bump if you press to one size. You just can't stitch in the ditch if you press open. I wasn't planning to stitch in the ditch, so I think we're good on that. At least not on this one. At least not on this one. So let's see what it says, how many of these there were. There were 356 of them. So there's 356 of these to press open. So that will be my next step, and I will do that off camera so you guys aren't sitting here droning, listening to me drone on while I press, unless you guys want me to press on the camera. You know, it's up to you. Do you guys want to see me press all this, or do you want to just get to the next step? You get to vote. You are voting members. You are in the chat tonight. You are voting members. Do you want to see me stitch or do you want me to see me press, or do you want to just see me sew? You get to make a choice. It's now or never. So, I can show you what I've got. Bear with me, I'll be off camera for a second. Alright. Moving quilts around. So that way you guys can see what I'm going to do. Alright. So this is one that's going to be bound. This is that Tumbling Blocks quilt that you guys have seen on my header. So all the beautiful tumbling blocks. That is going to have, I'm trying not to stretch them. It is going to have this fabric, this blue print fabric. I apologize, my camera is not great tonight for it. But it is going to be bound with blue. Chat and sew. There we go. I will do it. That is what I will do. I won't worry about pressing then on camera. I'll get that done off camera. Alright. So this is going to be bound in blue. So it's not going to stand out a whole lot. And it is going up against a different shade of blue. So, I mean, it is definitely a different shade of blue. It stands out from that other shade of blue, but it's not going to stand out against the quilt. Joy T says, I go with the flow. That's the spirit too. I like that. And I have not trimmed threads on any of these, you guys. Your tumbling block quilt is beautiful. Thank you, Vicky. I appreciate that. Alright, this is one you guys have not seen in a really long time. But it has been sitting there waiting to be bound. And it has been waiting for quilting. And I have not trimmed threads. So please don't look too closely. So this is my feathered snowflake tree skirt or table topper. And I decided to go with table topper. That's what my husband chose. So that is now quilted. This is the back. I'm not sure how well it's going to show up on the camera for the quilting. The quilting is done in white and the backing is red. So let's see if I can get it closer, see if the camera will pick it up for you guys. There's some of it in some of the, I see a little bit of it in the camera. Do you quilt yourself on a long arm or machine? I actually have a sit-down long arm. I picked it up in November. So I have been quilting on a sit-down long arm. So it's not a whole lot, it's not really fancy or anything. So the majority of this quilt is Stitch in the Ditch. So the only section that is not Stitch in the Ditch is down here in this green star section. I added wavy lines, but I had to wait on an extra ruler because my ruler wasn't big enough for me to do those sections without starting and stopping. So this one sat on my long arm for a little bit. I had to hurry up and get it done so that I could get some of the other ones done as well. Let me see. I got one other quilt that I'm going to pull out. So you guys are going to see me bind this one, this Irish chain with a twist. You guys will get to see me bind this with all 8 sides to it. There are indeed 8 sides to it. Alright. And it is going to be bound, while I'm thinking about it, the green, or the table topper, is getting bound in green. So these are my binding strips for it. I will have to sew them together, but they are bias. Everything I'm cutting is bias. Alright, so this is one you guys have not seen in a really long time, if at all. I've not worked on it on camera. Let me see. There's not really a right top or bottom. So this is a Quilt of Valor. I do not know who it's going to yet. So this is the backing. Try not to knock anything over. It's got stars on it. So all of these are stars. And, okay, big reveal. This is Bonnie Hunter's On Ringo Lake pattern. The entire quilt is the same thing all the way down. Let's see, Tammy, I used to have a handy quilter that I used with my machine. It worked very well. Yeah, no, I bet. I bet it did work really well. Alright, so this is the Bonnie Hunter quilt that I've done, and it is on Ringo Lake. And I like the setting triangles on this, because Bonnie had us putting, you know, 2 different fabrics together to make the setting sides and setting triangles. So the whole quilt is scrappy. And I started this in October last year, and I finished it, I want to say in January. Don't quote me on when I finished it, but I think I finished it in January. But I waited to quilt it. You guys will not be able to see the quilting in it. But I quilted waves and stars. So that's what I quilted into it. It still has the basting stitches in it, so it's going to have to wash out. Let's see. Great accomplishment. Vicky says that's amazing. Thank you. And thank you, Kimberly. Joy T says, wow, beautiful. You do some complicated work. I do. And I think the main reason that I do the complicated stuff is because it keeps my brain quiet. It gives my brain a challenge and keeps me from overthinking. So I think that's why I do it. Pajama Quilter is having to head out now. Have a terrific night. Good evening, Kimberly. Thank you for being here. Did I follow a pattern to make it my own? So all of these, okay, so this one right here I made up, and the cut and chisel quilt I made up, and Tumbling Blocks, kind of. Tumbling Blocks was cut out by someone else and given to me, and when I put it all together, I didn't have anything to make it big enough. So I added my own borders. I kind of freestyled my borders on it. The table topper, the Christmas table topper, was a Quiltworks pattern. It is no longer available for purchase, so I didn't want to post it live on my channel. And the Bonnie Hunter, I downloaded it free when Bonnie Hunter was running that. So I think 2016 or 2017, one or the other. I believe she still has it available for sale, but I don't know for sure. When I do the binding video for all of these, I will put links in the description box so that way you guys have a link to follow if you want to do the pattern. Whether it's, something like Irish chain with a twist that I created, cut and chiseled that I created. Well, cut and chisel is not going to be bound yet. I've got to quilt it first. Or the Quiltworks or the Bonnie Hunter. I will give you guys links to those so you guys can go look at that content and possibly recreate that if that's something that you want to do. So yeah. The Irish chain quilt, if you didn't catch that series, I was given a few different fabrics that my niece once used in her baby quilt. There, I've said it. So I wanted to create something around that fit her theme. Vicky asks, Tammy, have you ever done a stack and whack quilt? I have. And they are put up with my Halloween items right now. I did a stack and whack, but I did it with, I took 2.5-inch strips and did a stack and whack using 2.5-inch strips. I have done the other stack and whack, like the the One Block Wonder Stack and Whack. I have done a few of those, but it's been so long. I am going to be doing another one coming up in September. I've got, actually, maybe in August. I've got to have that one ready for September. So I probably will be doing another one then. So if you want to follow along or whatever, just realize it's going to be August before I can start that. Once all of these quilts are done, I've got 2 that have to be quilted within the next 30 days. And that is being generous, saying that it's 30 days. I mean, I really need to have, one of them I really need to have already done. It is the next one up on the long arm. It is going to be my primary focus until it's quilted. So it's got to be done. The other one, I have a little bit more time, but it is my show quilt that is going into the state fair this year, and may also be going into the local fair as well, the county fair, or Central Wyoming Fair. Vicky says, I love doing the Stack and Whack quilts. They look like a kaleidoscope. Yes, they do. They do. And they can come out really pretty depending on what fabric you chose. They can also come out looking horrendous if you chose something that is not appropriate. I definitely recommend not ever doing anything with eyes or hands and feet, because it tends to get cut up really awkwardly. So I'm going to go ahead and get off of here, you guys. Next week, remember, please remember, if you want to go ahead and put notifications on for next week, as well as 2 weeks from now, which is June 4th, our Sew and Tell, in the first in our giveaway month, then please go turn the notifications on. That way you get notified of those lives. If I do go live, if I am able to go live and I'm not able to go live on time, I will adjust the time next week to adjust for being in Salt Lake City and whatever may be going on. But again, in June, every Tuesday night is going to be a giveaway night. So somebody's going to be walking home with something every Tuesday night, okay? So please make sure to subscribe to watch the content. If you're watching and you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. If you're still here, please hit that thumbs up for me. I appreciate it. I'm going to go ahead and get off of here, and I will see you guys next week. If not, then I'll see you in 2 weeks. I may have some other impromptu lives. Just keep an eye out on the